I'm going to start over here in the shade bed. This is the most recently planted bed. We used to have a swing set here and that was removed, so now we have a hammock, and all these plants were recently added. The pink ones are astilbe, same as the white one. And this is the path to the back garden. Over here we have a variegated dogwood, and underneath has all sorts of ferns and other cool flowers like these white ones, which I grew last year and then they reseeded this year all over the garden, which is fabulous. And these are astrantia and they have a really beautiful geometry. And moving along here, this is another path which leads to the vegetables. We'll pass the two ostriches on the way. The plants will become their plumage, just not quite big enough yet. And as we go up this path, we pass the hydrangea, which is immense and is an amazing collection of bees during the day. Literally hundreds of bees there. So now we enter the vegetable area and the annuals that are in a cage because we don't want them eaten by bunnies. And we have all sorts of things growing in here. And then we have lots of tomatoes. So tomatoes, basil, tomatoes, all different kinds of tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, big tomatoes, lots of basil because we like to make pesto in the summer and freeze it for all through the winter. And this is just a planter with some really cool, oh, they're closing up now, but they're African daisies that have really cool colors in them. Then we have more tomatoes, and then this is just a view looking outwards of the garden, all sorts of colors and textures. And then if we come back around over here, there's more astilbe, more tomatoes, and we'll walk over to that bed that has all the color. This is a fig that goes in and out of the garage every year. Don't think I will continue to do that because it is not producing fruit. So that's looking for a new home. This is a beautiful white pincushion flower that I grew from seed last year, and it came back. And it's surrounded by stachys in all different colors of pink. And here in full glory is a clematis. I don't remember the name of it, but it is such a beautiful and prolific flowerer. And there's an orange geum that is intermingled with the purple flowers. If we continue to move along this bed here, there are lots of colors. Some are just fading. This was a very bright blue and white area, but the white is currently fading. Here are some purple bubbles called allium and some lamb's-ear. And we continue along. You'll see so many colors and textures and spikes all the way up into the sky. There is a beautiful delphinium that unfortunately got blown over in the rain last night. And then here we have more plants. This one I love. I grew it from seed and it came back. And then the roses are past their prime, but they were beautiful. This is a row of roses all the way along here. not doing so great anymore. We have this very tall, beautiful plant in full bloom in the sky that's about 12 feet tall, and it's a perennial. And then there are some more roses here. And as we move along, this is a more private area. Has a statue over there, excuse the noise from the train. And we come around to a red Japanese maple, a little bunny running away, and this is a path to the back garden, which we're not going to go to right now. Over here you can see a beautiful hosta, and then some dahlias just starting to bloom. All the dahlias are blooming red right now, but this is another view of the garden. And over here we have a columnar apple tree, so it just grows as a tall pole and it will produce apples on either side. That makes harvesting much easier. As we move along this way, there are some beautiful hydrangeas that are tired in the heat. It's very hot today. And another Japanese maple. This is a beautiful one called Sarayu. And over here we have a variegated dogwood with purple flowers that are bee balm, and they're called purple rooster. Just a beautiful color. And here we have an elevated planter, which is really going crazy. This is about 4 feet above the ground. So moving back this way, we have a flower here called Echinops, which is a beautiful globe that will become lots of little flowers. And this whole bed is roses, but they've just stopped blooming. Here's another view of that planter above everything else. The sun is kind of preventing us from seeing the real colors. So now I am going, this is a view down the side, and I am going to go and show you the vegetable garden. So over here are the carrots, more basil, the cutest little miniature tomato that gets 9 inches tall, a tomato that's slightly bigger. There's cucumbers over here that are going to grow on the archway. There's parsley, there's kale, which I just had to spray for caterpillars, and there are marigolds and more basil. And then on the other side of this archway, there are so many peas. This creeper just went, these pea plants just went crazy, and I cannot tell you how many peas. Like everywhere you look, there are peas on this archway. We can't eat them quick enough. Here's a planter with more dahlias, a second one over here. And then if we move along, this is a poppy. Oh, it's closing now. It's a beautiful pink California poppy, gorgeous color. Right next to our strawberries, we have so many strawberries right now. Look at all these strawberries ripening in here. There's a whole planter of them. And then we move along to alliums, and this is my favorite planter because it's just a mixture of succulents, and I love it. This planter is okay. I learned the good lesson that planters look much better when you start with large plants bought at a store, in contrast to the planter that I started everything from seed. Clearly a few weeks behind. Over here we have bee balm, which is specifically planted here because it attracts the hummingbirds to these bird feeders, and we sit inside and just watch the hummingbirds, which is really wonderful. As we move this way, there's a shade garden, more colors and textures, and more planters. And then the last thing I want to show is our harvest of blueberries. I apologize for the noise, but we're right next to the air conditioner. There are 2 plants here, and check out how many blueberries we have. This is all one plant, loaded with blueberries, and then this is the second plant. And we're gonna have to eat them really fast before the birds get to them. So that is, oh, I didn't show you this side of the vegetable garden. Has lots of lettuce, arugula, herbs, individual lettuce, basil. These are our peas, our beans growing. You can see there's a whole lot of beans that are going to be forming right there. And cilantro. Okay, that is the video for today's garden.